peeps. So welcome along to my 5TB Masters build. This section is part 9 and it's going to be all about the Nintendo Wii. Now I always say it, but if you're new to the channel, I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe and help me out in my long, draining journey to 1,000 subscribers. We'll get straight on, mate. So I'm not going to show you copying the games over. I've shown it in loads of videos. It's the same basically on everyone. I will show you where you're going to put the Wii games, but I'm not going to show you copying my files over. They're already in there. So if you go into your Retrobat drive, the Retrobat folder, come down to ROMs, scroll all the way down, and the folder's just called Wii. Now this is where you're going to copy and paste all your games into, and then we'll get straight on with the configuration. So if you press your back button or select, it will bring up this menu. Go down to Advanced System Options. Right at the top here we've got the emulator. We're going to be using the standalone Dolphin Emulator. You can change it to the Liberto Dolphin Emulator, which is basically the retro art core. Now again, with the decorations, you can go in here and change your borders, whatever you want. You can make it look like a television, or you can make it look like the actual Wii borders, which will be the default unglazed setting. Again, I say this in every video, everything's personal preference. What I think looks good, a lot of other people won't, so it's all down to your own taste. Game aspect ratio, I'm going to put it on 16:9. Internal resolution, I'm going to start it off by using just a ×1 resolution, standard resolution basically. You can change up to 5K on the Wii, obviously depending on your computer. Vertical sync, I've never really noticed any screen tearing on the game, so we don't really need to bother with that. Auto configure controllers I've got set to 1. Now in the video section you've got the widescreen option, which I'm not 100%, I've never really done much testing on it, whether it affects any games. Sometimes in certain systems this breaks games, it breaks the graphics, but I've not tried it to be fair on the Wii. I just set it to 16:9 and to be fair on the monitor it looks fine anyway. And then the other two settings in here is if you're having performance issues. Both will make the games take longer to load, but they might help if you're having issues running games. In the visual rendering section, you've got all your filtering, your anti-aliasing, custom textures and stuff like that. Again, I don't bother with these, I just want to play it as they are. You're basically upscaling the resolution. I don't believe you need to make them look any better, but that's totally up to you if you want to change them. You can just come in here, try them. You're not going to break anything, basically just have a look at them, see how much of a difference you feel it makes. If you don't see any difference or it makes it run a little bit worse, you can just come in here and put it straight back on auto. You're not going to break anything. It's have a look yourself. Again, in the emulation section, I've not needed any of these settings. I believe with a lot of the settings I find in a lot of the systems, you put them on and they tend to break stuff or make things look worse. Not always the case, you might get the odd game where it makes it look a lot better, but for the sake of the odd game, I just leave all this set to auto. User interface in here, you can come in here and put your frames per second on, so you can do some testing on the games. It basically tells you how fast the game's running in the top right hand corner. You can come in, you can say set it at the standard resolution, and if it's running fine then you can go and knock it up to 720p. Keep an eye on the game speed. If you're not losing any speed, you can keep knocking it up until you realise you're losing a bit of speed, and then knock it back down to the last one where you wasn't, and you sort of find your little niche for your computer. Each game's individual, some games run better than others. Now in the drivers section, I already know that the DirectX 12 is the best setting in here. From when I've done a Wii video before, I went through them all and checked them, and I got a lot better results from the DirectX 12 core, to be fair. Now in the controls here, you can invert your A and B button if you don't like how it's set up on your controller. And also, if you're using an Xbox controller, you're going to put this onto emulated on the Wiimote type. If you're using like a Mayflash Dolphin Bar, you'll leave this set to real. I highly recommend using a Mayflash Dolphin Bar. They're absolutely brilliant, to be fair. I've had mine for a few years now. It's never failed me. It works absolutely great. And you can also use it for your old like Nintendo Entertainment System, for Duck Hunt, and also your arcade games in MAME and stuff like that. Really good bit of kit, and they're about 20 quid. So now on the emulated devices, where you're choosing where it says Wiimote and it says nunchuck stroke cursor, that is basically your left thumbstick and your right thumbstick. So with this configuration, as I've got it set here, your left thumbstick is your nunchuck movement and your right thumbstick is your cursor. Now you can come into the options and change this however you want it, basically. You've got certain games like Donkey Kong and the new Super Mario Brothers where the top setting, the Wiimote's horizontal, you'll need to use that because you use your Wiimote sideways. Also, you've got all your tilt and swing options here, which isn't great on the Xbox 360 controller. It's doable. There's a lot of games that use you can set it to the classic gamepad and stuff like that, and they're doable with them, but like I said, none of it compares to actually using a proper Wii remote. I believe you can use a standard Wii sensor bar. You can get an adapter for them. I've never tried it myself. I've always been happy enough with a Mayflash Dolphin Bar, to be fair. So that's it basically for the configuration inside Retrobat. We'll now go into the actual Dolphin Emulator settings and have a quick look. So on the systems wheel, if you scroll down to the Retrobat, now if we enter this, we're going to come down to the Dolphin Emulator. Now there's two in here. There's the GameCube Wii stroke WAD and the Triforce. We want the GameCube Wii WAD one. Click that to load it up. Now while we're in here, it's going to populate all these GameCube and Wii games. If you come up to the help, you can come down and see if you've got the latest version, check for updates. I'm obviously using the latest version as possible at the minute. So if you want to separate your GameCube games and your Wii games, if you come up just above the logos here, click the box and it will sort them so they're all into GameCube and Wii. Now we can scroll down to Wii games. Come into the controller section, and obviously you've got your GameCube controller in here, what you can come in and configure. Now it says as well here that you can pass through a Bluetooth adapter for your Wii remotes. It's something I've never personally tried. It might be worth giving it a go if it's something you want to do. Again, I use the Dolphin Bar. Or you can basically come in and emulate the Wii's Bluetooth adapter as you can in the menu that I've just showed you, but obviously there's a lot more configuration that you can do inside here. So if you click on the configure box, this is where you can come in and change everything. You can change all the different motions, the twists, the swings. You can set them to exactly what you want to put them on your joystick. You do have to be careful because basically you want every command that's needed for that game. So if you go and put like a swing to your right shoulder button, for instance, you might need that for something else. Your extension, you can put your classic controller in here. But basically everything you need, you can set up as I've just showed you. You don't necessarily need to come in here. You can come in here if there's certain games where you want to come in and change absolutely everything. But for the whole, you can just use the menu that I've just been showing you. So now we'll have a look at some games and a couple of issues that I ran into. So firstly, Go Vacation. As you can hear, there's audio stutter on the game. I couldn't hear the audio stutter as I was making the video, as I was doing a lot of other stuff at the same time. So basically, I was going to show you that the control system on here, using the Xbox controller as it's set up with a nunchuck and cursor on your left and right thumbstick, doesn't work on this because you basically need the swing operation, and it's not set up to do that as it is. But then we'll load up GoldenEye 007. Again, the audio stutters here, but the control system works absolutely fine. I believe this may be set up to the classic controller, but it works really good on the Xbox 360 controller. So now we'll plug in the Mayflash Dolphin Bar and we'll use a real Wii remote. As before, you want to press back or select on your controller, come into the advanced system options, go down to your control section, and on the Wiimote type, we're going to change it to real. And now we have it set to real. Obviously the jump and swing motion works on the Wii remote. So now loading Wii Sports up, I still had this stuttering issue, the audio stutter and the lag in the game, which I pretty much knew wasn't right because the system that I'm using, it's not a high-end system, but it should be able to run Wii fine. It's got an Nvidia T400 card in, which is a really good little card for emulation. So as I've said on previous videos, I've had issues with the video setting. Sometimes you can put it on auto and have it on standard and it'll work on most systems, and you'll come into a different system and it'll be lagging. Even the older crappy systems will have audio stutter. So then you can come and change the video setting. Now, in one of my earlier videos, I've set this to 1920 by 1080 by 50 Hz, and this is the setting which is literally causing the issue because it's not set exactly to 60 Hz. So again, we'll press back, come down to advanced system options, down to the video mode. And then here I'm going to change it from 1920 by 1080 50 Hz to 1920 by 1080 60 Hz, which solves the problem. So now we'll load Wii Sports back up, go into the tennis, and it's running absolutely fine. No audio stutter and no lag. Now, as it's running so well, we'll try it at a higher resolution. We're going to press back or select advanced system options, come down to the internal resolution, and we're going to try it on 720p. So still running absolutely fine. We're going to flick it up to 1080p. Still running absolutely fine. We're going to flick it straight up to 4K. Now when we set it to 4K, we're getting audio stutter, so we'll try it on 1440p. So it seems to be running fine at 1440p, but I'm going to do all my testings at 1920 by 1080, and I'm pretty sure that it's going to run absolutely everything at this setting. Now, I tried about 15 games in testing. There was only one that didn't work, and all the others run absolutely perfectly. So now I'll show you the gameplay footage.
Sharp-looking charge beam, just the way I like it. Okay, more ball next. Stop wasting time, will ya? Go ahead and drop some bombs. Till it break, take it from the top so much the button breaking they can't make it rewind again.
Get the fork in that chainsaw because it's dead. He better watch out or he'll turn into a...
Throws it out. Arteta. It's the running off the ball that creates the space. Could be in here. Oh, he'll stop those all night long.
Nice throw! $150 yards to the flagstick. Not much to work with, but I do have an option.
Watch your back.
Thanks. They just keep on coming. Damn.
Please be safe, G. How could anyone do this? G!
Jeez.
Blow their heads off!
Not bad, comrade. If that's the toughest these bioorganic weapon things get, then we got nothing to worry about.
Right, so that's another one chalked off. Great little system, weird, and it's emulated really well with this Dolphin Emulator. Now, while I was recording the video, I had two different inputs selected, so there was an echo while I was playing on the games. It sounded really tinny and a bit awkward, but I can assure you the sound is fine when you're playing the games normally. It was just because I had two different things selected, and it's because they were conflicting with each other, basically. So as I said in the video numerous times, Mayflash Dolphin Bar is the way to go with these. They're really, really good. And not only do they do the Wii system, like I said, they do the arcade games, they do some early consoles like the Master System, the NES, the SNES, even some PlayStation games and stuff like that. Now I'll leave an affiliate link in my description, just in case you're looking into one, but I highly recommend them. But anyway, I'll keep it short and sweet. As with most systems, it's really easy to set the Wii up. You just copy the games in, Have a quick flick through the different resolutions with some different titles to see if you get any slowdown. Like you see in the video, I basically had to knock the Mario Galaxy 2 resolution down to 720p. It was only a tiny bit of slowdown I noticed when it was getting really sort of funky and Bowser were there and there were a lot of fireworks and stuff going on. But I'd say probably 90% of the games would run on the 1440 setting on this computer. It all depends on your PC, and that's basically what you've got to do. Have a quick flip through the different resolutions and see how your computer handles it. But anyway, until next time, peeps.